All right, I thought I'd show you something that just came in from a very good client of mine. These are the Wilson Alexia Vs, the latest version. These are approximately two and a half years ago we installed them. This was part of a very, very large, crazy home theater system. Curtis, who's behind the camera, can vouch for that. Believe it or not, these speakers, for many people, these are endgame speakers. The client was using them as rear surrounds, not surrounds, rear surrounds. So there's hardly any real use out of these speakers because the signals that typically come out of rear surrounds are not all that crazy. Plus, this older gentleman, he doesn't play his music loud in any way, shape, or form. It's just something that he's always wanted. As a matter of fact, he has multiple Wilson systems. This is just one. Anyway, in great condition, comes in this stunning crimson gloss red. Think Ferrari. It's absolutely stunning. In person, of course, red is a very striking color, so you either love them or you don't. But I look at them and I think, oh my God, they're just absolutely gorgeous. All right, so let's go through these specs first. That's a 1-inch dome tweeter, 7-inch Quadra Mag mid-range driver. This was first introduced in the Alex V, and then the Sasha Vs, and then the What Puppies, and of course the Alexia as well. That's I think a 10-inch woofer, and that's a 12-inch woofer. Between these speakers, right here at the top plate is the V material. Wilson introduced the V material about 2 years ago. It's a special material that Wilson discovered together with the company that helps them produce this product. It takes energy, vibrations, and completely sinks it to nothingness, essentially heat. And that's at the top between this module and the woofer module. And then at the bottom, it comes with acoustic diodes, which I'll show you separately. Right now, they're on casters. I mentioned they've been installed for about 2 to 2.5 years. What I didn't tell you was that in at least half of that time, they weren't really being used because the client migrates between the US and Canada, depending on the season, but also because, quite frankly, he's an elder gentleman, and so it's not all that easy to use the system anymore. So part of the reason for the selling is not only a major upgrade, we change a bunch of things for him, but also to downsize because he's not going to be using his complete home theater as he currently has configured. All right, let me turn the speaker around to show you a few more details in case you don't know. The reason I'm highlighting this speaker is because I often get this email, generic question or general question out of this particular range or product, manufacturer I should say, which is the sweet spot. And in my opinion, there generally is a sweet spot. If cost is no object, you buy whatever the manufacturer makes as their very best. But most of us know, just in terms of the real world situation, there's a point where the performance is so good for the money, and then you have to spend double for maybe an extra 10%, and then spend again another double for an extra 10%, if that. This is where, in my opinion, the Wilson range, this is the sweet spot. It's not inexpensive, but it is significantly better than the Sasha, which is below it. And it will still be, it's still relatively small in terms of its form factor. So if you don't have a huge room, it'll easily fit. We have a client, Victor. Victor, if you're watching, hi to you. He's got a relatively small room, but it completely fits beautifully in his room. And in fact, a lot of clients all over the world, from Wilson Audio in Asia and so on, use the Alexia for that reason. Its form factor is not that crazy, and yet it can produce prodigious amounts of bass, very dynamic, etc. So let me turn it around and show you the back. Okay. By the way, they're still on their casters, and that's how we left them in this installation. Part of it was because the client at that point realized that it wasn't going to be a long-term installation, just wanted it, and so we left them on the caster, so if he ever needed to move them, he could. So on the back, these are the adjustments. This pivot, if you will, adjusts the tilt of the tweeter as well as the front and back. These are the connections for the mid-range or mid-frequency and then the high frequency. I guess that would be called the mid-range. This is the metal stair step. So that the spike for the upper module sits over here, and depending on how tall you are, your ears to the ground, and how far the speakers are from you, the manual tells you exactly where to place the stair step and where to put the spike on the stair step and how far back the stair step should be. Or, if necessary, we have to put a different spike underneath this module to increase the appropriate tilt down. Then in the back here, this is where the resistors are. These resistors are there for two reasons. One, to protect the drivers, but also to fine-tune the frequency, if you will, or the sound of the speaker. And it's very easy to get at. Unlike early models of Wilsons, there are no bolts to take out. All you have to do is just pull this metal fascia off, and then you see this carbon fiber, and then you can see these resistors, and they're very easy to get out. You take a small Allen key, take those out, and then you loosen these binding posts, and they just come out. And you'll notice that these resistors are actually fastened to a metal heatsink, so that allows them to also take a lot more energy and heat. So, and by the way, for those of you who are Wilson owners, it's generally a good idea. Wilson suggests every year. I'd say certainly a year, but 2 to 3 years, change the resistors. You'll be shocked at how much improvement the sound is, or there is in the sound. And then finally, of course, this is where your amplifier connects to the speaker. So those are the details. Let me give you a few more. 90 dB sensitivity, so relatively easy to drive. However, while it's rated at a 4 ohm load, there's a minimum of 2.59, if I remember, at about 82, 83 hertz. So you do want an amplifier with a bit of current. So something decent, something powerful, especially if you want something that is your speakers to play at high levels with no restriction in bass. You definitely want a good amplifier. These speakers are very transparent, so the better the amplifier, the better the end results. The factory rates them at 19 to 33 kilohertz plus or minus 3 dB in room. So not necessarily in an anechoic chamber, but in a room. And they weigh 265 pounds each, or 120 kilograms. The regular price for the speakers are $74,200 US in the optional finish, as we have here. We're selling them for $45,200 US. Or 64,550 Canadian. That's approximately 35, I don't remember, but 35-40% off. So for a speaker that's as low use as they are in superb condition, this is wonderful. Let me show you the accessories that come with the speakers. So starting over here, these are the acoustic diodes. So the acoustic diodes are Wilson's spikes with the special V material, and that's the material over here. It's set into the actual spike itself, the diode itself. This is machined out of solid aluminum, just quite chunky. And you put the spike through here. Actually, sorry, the wrong one. This one. Just like that. And then the threaded bolt in here that goes into the speaker. They've never been used, these acoustic diodes. They've literally never been used because this whole time we've only ever used the casters. And I'll show you the toolkit. Again, just because we've never needed to use it. So, and oftentimes when we go and do an install, we'll bring our own tools as well. So that's a brand new toolkit. And of course the casters. Manuals over here. Okay. The only thing we don't have are the original crates. The speakers came in 3 crates, 1 crate each for the woofer modules, and then 1 separate crate for the upper modules. The client didn't want to keep them, so we had to get rid of them. However, if we need to ship them, we can certainly have crates made and shipped to you. Now, if you are out of Canada or anywhere outside of Ontario and they have to be shipped, be prepared and be aware that all shipping and associated costs are something that you will be responsible for. So for example, for shipping to the US, there'll be costs like brokerage. And brokerage is basically a service that the shipping company, for example, a transport company, would require to charge you directly to declare the items to US Customs borders. In Canada, we pay about $150 to $300 depending on the value of the shipment. So presumably it'll be somewhat similar in the US. I don't know about other countries. So that's something that you have to look into and be aware of. And if you're serious about it, email me, info@audioexcellence.ca. I will get the shipping costs for you. You'll just email me your address details and so on. As I say, just be aware you will need a broker. If you don't have a broker, I can try and help find you one, but ultimately there will be a broker required. I think FedEx might be able to work as a broker for you depending on whether or not they'll take this amount of weight. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm really stoked that these came in. We have a pair ourselves, otherwise I would have kept them. They're just absolutely a phenomenal speaker. If you don't have the space nor the budget for the Alex, these are being sold for essentially the same price as the Sashas, and they are a much better speaker than the Sasha. All right, we'll see you again next time. Take care, bye-bye.